Hi, I'm Olivia Luzzio, and I'm a senior on the women's swim team at Washington and Lee. My earliest memory as a swimmer was my first swim practice when I was 7, when the coach told us to do a 100, and not having been to a swim practice before, I didn't know that he meant 100 meters, and I thought I was supposed to be doing 100 laps, and so I did one lap, and I got out and ran over to my mom crying. And when she asked what was wrong, I was like, he told me to do a 100, and I've only done one. And it's really funny to look back on, and definitely gets tossed around the dinner table a lot. I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of people to look up to throughout my swimming career, but throughout college, my role models have definitely been my older teammates and my coach. They've all really taught me what it means to be part of a team and kind of promoted an environment of like accountability, integrity, support for one another, and these values are kind of things that I just like have always strived to embody on a daily basis. And definitely that I think that I'll carry with me into the future. And so they've definitely all been very influential in my athletic career. My advice to a young female athlete would be that every athlete struggles at some points, but as long as you're doing the sport for yourself and you can ground yourself in that, it's a lot easier to keep going when the going gets tough. And I think that personally, there's been several times when I've thought that I should be done with swimming, but the benefits of continuing to swim have always outweighed like any foreseen benefits of quitting. Also, never like let anyone tell you that you can't do something, because ultimately the only person who can make that decision is yourself. And I think that overcoming self-doubt and learning to believe in yourself is definitely easier said than done, but it's also the best advice that I've heard over the years.
Hi, my name is Valerie Marshall, and I am a senior on the women's tennis team. My earliest memory from playing tennis would probably be from when I was 3 or 4, I believe, and I would hit beach balls in my yard with a tennis racket with my mom. My parents were both tennis players in college, so from a very young age, they wanted to make sure I was playing tennis because they loved it so much and thought, and were hopeful that I would love it too. My female role model in athletics as a tennis player would have to be Billie Jean King, just because she was able to use her platform as a top-ranked tennis player, someone who had, attention to use that to benefit women, all female athletes, and just women's rights in general, as she fought for equal pay for women in tennis. So yeah, just her ability, to do so much good, not just for her own tennis career, but for the tennis career of so many women and so many women to come after her, I think is something very admirable. And some advice that I would give to a young female athlete. So in my opinion, when it comes to sports, attitude is everything. So I would just advise to try to keep a positive attitude as best you can, because I think it helps you both in competition to stay focused. If you're trying to always keep a positive attitude, you won't get as frustrated by minor mistakes or things outside of your control, and I think that will help with your performance. And I think it also helps to just keep up a love for the sport, because being an athlete, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, especially if you want to play college athletics or become a professional athlete. And I've seen so many talented tennis players simply burn out and have to stop playing because kind of they lost their love for the sport. So I think trying to keep a positive attitude and a love for your sport will really go a long way.
Hey everyone! Before I started running track, I played soccer for a really long time. And so one of my earliest memories playing soccer was in elementary school. And at recess, everybody would sort of go and find some activity to do. It was hopscotch or, foursquare, playing on the jungle gym, walking around. But I would go play soccer with all of the boys. I was one of the only girls that would play with them. And I had the best time. It was awesome. From a track standpoint, one of my earliest memories was, again, in elementary school. and they would do the pacer test or the beep test as like a fitness measure, or, test that, a fitness test basically. And I would get so excited for the pacer test, and you basically would just run back and forth between lines for as long as you could. But I would get so excited because I just knew how much I loved to run and how naturally that came to me. And eventually, one of the PE teachers picked up on how many kids enjoyed doing this pacer test and sort of started a little cross-country group in our elementary school. And so I took part in that and loved it. I mean, it was really hard. I now sprint. I don't do long distance running. But I just remember how cool I felt to be part of an organization like that, even though it was so amateur because it was elementary school. But it was just so much fun. And as for female role models who are in the athletic industry, I would have to say, again, from a soccer standpoint, the U.S. women's team that won the World Cup in 2019, that whole roster of women is just incredibly inspiring to me. I mean, Ali Krieger, Megan Rapinoe, Carly Lloyd, Alex Morgan, Ashlyn Harris, the list goes on and on and on. They are all not only incredibly talented, but are part of so many different groups. And, some of the women are part of the LGBTQ community. Some of the women are women of color. And so they, from a general perspective, they brought a lot of awareness during the World Cup that there are a lot of inequalities that female athletes face, and just females in general within their professions. But not only that, also, female athletes who are part of the LGBTQ community, who are women of color, and just how that also impacts their careers and their professions. And from a track standpoint, similarly, Allison Felix, amazing sprinter in our 100 meter, 200 meter, 400 meter. And so that's always just something that I'm always like, wow, because she runs the same events that I run. And again, not only the fact that she's an amazing track and field runner, but also because she is incredibly inspiring. I mean, she talks a lot about being a female athlete, being a woman of color, and the difficulties that can bring sometimes. And she has these conversations and dialogues that are so inspiring to women and encouraging any woman, any female athlete to get involved. Recently, she just had a baby, I think within the last year and a half, and she's been chatting about being a mother and being a professional athlete and coming back to track and field and the challenges that comes with that. And so she's incredibly inspiring to me for so many reasons. Those are just some of them. And as for advice that I would give young female athletes, I was very fortunate to be involved in sports and communities that I never really thought too much about my gender identity, and how I was one of the only few of the girls that participated in, playing soccer at recess. But, I do remember most of my friends that were girls were walking and not playing soccer. And in fact, they were walking around the jungle gym talking about the boys playing soccer at recess. And, I wanted to play soccer, so I went and played soccer. And so my advice to young female athletes, or just females in general, is, enjoy it. Do what you want. Don't worry so much about what other people are doing. And if it brings you joy, go for it. Thanks so much.
Hi, my name is Laurie Jones. I am on the women's golf team. But my first real memory playing golf was when I was 5 years old. And my dad would sneak me out on to the golf course because you weren't allowed to go until you were 7. So it was a really big deal that my dad would take me out, and we'd just go, and I had plastic clubs and just have a great time. But throughout my career, probably the most inspirational woman athlete in my life has been Babe Zaharias. So she actually won multiple medals in track and field, and then went on to become a professional golfer, winning every LPGA event that was around when she was there. She helped start the Ladies Professional Golf Association. She actually helped start the club that I grew up playing on, and was not only just a great golfer, but a great athlete all around, and had incredible comments on her character, and it was just like incredible inspiration growing up. And one thing that I would tell young women that are coming in and like playing sports, I just remind you to be your authentic self, that you can accomplish anything, and anyone that tells you any different like doesn't realize all the potential that you have. So go out there and kill it, ladies. Thank you so much.